Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Newman City Council meeting of August 14th, 2018. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag and remain standing for the invocation. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing. Mother Teresa said, "Let us always meet each other with a smile, for the smile is the beginning of love." Let's pray. Most gracious Father, we thank you tonight for the opportunity to serve our community. We thank you for the attendance here, and we pray your blessings on our community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Ernie. Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember McDonald?
Here.
Graham?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Candia? Day?
Here.
Mayor Martina?
Here. Item 5, declaration of conflict of interest.
None.
There being none tonight. 6, we'll move on to ceremonial matters, and tonight's proclamation, National Health Center Week. Do we have someone here? Oh, we good. Good. We'll go up to the podium.
Sure, all of you.
Oh, we got everyone.
We got everybody.
Well, that's a good thing.
They work hard, so, we all work hard, so I said we all have to.
Okay, so you
share
mind
in this
introducing
wonderful-
yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Yamilet Valladolid. I'm the Government Affairs Manager for Golden Valley Health Centers. Thank you for having us today.
My name is Myra Nunio, and I'm the supervisor for the Newman Clinic for Golden Valley Health Centers.
Hi, good evening. My name is Adriana, and I'm at Patterson Golden Valley Health Centers, also as a clinic supervisor.
Hello, my name is Melinda Marshall. I'm the Director of Operations with Golden Valley Health Center, and I actually have the region from Dos Palos all the way to Manteca. So Newman and Patterson's in my region.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Anyway, this is a great proclamation, in small cities like ourselves. We recognize how important it is to have health centers. Whereas for 50 years, community health centers have provided quality, affordable, comprehensive primary and preventive health care in our nation's underserved communities, delivering value to and having a significant impact on America's health care system. Whereas as the country's largest primary care network, health centers are the health care homes for 27 million Americans and over 10,000 communities across the nation. 1 in every 12 people in the United States get their care in a community health center. Whereas health centers are critical to the health system, serving both rural and urban populations, often providing the only accessible source of primary care in their community. Whereas every day health care centers develop a new approach to integrating a wide range of services beyond primary care, including oral health, vision, behavioral health, and pharmaceutical service to meet the needs and challenge of our communities. Whereas health centers are governed by patient majority boards, ensuring that the patients of each health center are engaged in their own health care decisions. Whereas health centers are locally owned and operated, small businesses serve as a critical economic engine, helping to power local economics by generating $45.6 billion in economic impact and employing more than 200,000 people in some of the country's most economically deprived communities. Whereas the health center model continues to prove an effective means of overcoming barriers to health care access, including geographics, incoming, insurance status, and in doing so, improves health care outcomes and reduces health care system costs. Whereas health care centers reduce overall cost of care by helping manage patients' chronic conditions, which keeps them out of costly health care like hospitals and emergency rooms. Whereas the health centers are on the front line of emerging health care crisis, providing access to care for the nation's veterans homeless communities, addressing the opiate epidemic, and responding to public health threats in the wake of natural disasters. Whereas National Health Centers Week offers the opportunity to recognize America's more than 110,400 health centers, their dedicated staff members, board members, patients, and all those responsible for their continuing success. Whereas during the National Health Center Week, we celebrate the legacy of America's health centers and their role in shaping the past, present, and future of America's health care system. Now therefore, I, Bob Martina, Mayor, on behalf of Newman City Council, do hereby proclaim August 12th through 18th, 2018 as National Health Care Center Week in the city of Newman. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Would you like to say something?
Sure, if we have an opportunity, we want to invite everybody to an event that we have here on Thursday, we can come out.
Oh, yeah.
So, on behalf of Golden Valley Health Centers, we're very honored to accept this proclamation proclaiming National Health Center Week this week, as a matter of fact. And we have been celebrating our heroes, because that is our theme, our healthcare heroes. Here in Newman, we serve behavioral health, medical, and dental, as well as health education, which is very critical and important, and we do that with great pride. We want to thank our team that serves this community, and we want to continue to serve the community for years to come. We also want to invite everybody on Thursday. We're going to have an event here at our Newman Health Center, and it's going to be from 11 till 2. Our program starts at 11:15, and we're going to have some really wonderful speakers. The Congressman Jeff Dunn is going to be there, as well as our supervisor, Mr. Martinez. And you're going to hear about different stories from our patients and providers about the wonderful ease and health access, because that's really important for us to continue to provide health access to our community. So thank you so much. I don't know if anybody else wants to say.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a great honor to accept this.
Without you, where we'd be, we wouldn't have the services we have today.
We really appreciate your partnership, and we appreciate all of you signing on to this proclamation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, item 7, items from the public. This is non-agenda items. And if anyone would like to speak to the council, please go to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you're welcome to say anything you'd like.
Hi, my name is Mary Ramus, and I live in Oris Timber Road. Is the mic working?
Yes.
I want to commend Michael Holland for being quick on using that gasoline tax. That really was a fast job. I couldn't believe it. My question is, why wasn't the Oris Timber portion of the city road on the agenda to be fixed when the eastern part of it was? To make myself clearer, I had seen on the index that from the Memorial Center all the way to T Street, that was on the agenda to be fixed. And I thought, well, surely that's a mistake by the index, because you must go all the way to the end of the baseball field where the property joins Vargas out there. But week after week, the same thing. I called the city about it, talked to the woman there. She said, well, I'll go out there and check it, because I've been complaining about that road since last year, and they would go out and fix it quite rapidly, but this time they were not fixing it. So the next time I called, she said, well, I'll have to meet with the county people out there. Still nothing was coming up in the paper, including that portion of the city road. I called the third time, and she told me, well, River Road is much worse than Oris Timber, and we don't fix that because that's not the city's. Well, that doesn't answer me. I wanted to know why the portion from the Newman Memorial Center west to the end of the city there, which is the baseball fields, why that was not included. And yes, they did put a little finish on that at the end, and I'm glad they did that because I had counted 20 holes, 3 potholes there, and that wasn't counting the ones that were filled. The section from the Newman Memorial Center to T Street, there wasn't one hole there. And I had pointed that out to the lady at the time when I talked to her. She said, well, we're just going to slurry that. Well, they did a beautiful job. I got to say that Inyo and Yolo, they did a beautiful job, and the portion up to Memorial Center was beautiful. Of course, the other wasn't in contract, so the base is not very good. And my question is just, why wasn't that portion included? Because you didn't do half of Yolo or half of Inyo. Anybody have an answer to that? And by the way, I did verify with the county that that is a city road. Up to that, there's a speed limit there in the end. And when they have the baseball tournaments, people like to park along there. And it really needs to have that trench filled in with a pipeline and that all covered, so when there's the baseball games, people can park there, and when the Newman Memorial Center is being used, they can also park there, because there isn't that much parking when there's a big doing at the Newman Memorial Center. But is there any, what can I say? Was that an oversight or what?
Mayor.
Obviously, the council can't address this particular question.
Yeah, so I think there's some discrepancy with what's going on. Based upon city records, our limit line ends right there at the Louis J. Newman with respect to the roads. And I think the county, they have some GIS systems, but the GIS is only based upon someone actually just marking something on a computer screen. So based upon our records, it wasn't part of it. We're going to go ahead and go do some more due diligence and really try to clear this up. So we'll have to go back to the 50s, probably when the high school was built, see how much was annexed and taken in, and if that part of the road was. If it was the city was taken in, our position is, if it would have been, the road would have been brought into the city, then you would have seen road improvements similar to what you're seeing by the Louis J. with curb gutters and those things. The fact that there's still an open trench from CCID ditch there along it tells us that's similar to what you find in a county setting. So therefore that road's still county road. In fact, if there's an accident just west of the Louis J. Newman building, that accident is generally processed by the CHPs, not city police department. So we understand the residents' concern out there. We're going to go back and do some more due diligence. I know our public works director was working with Knife Construction to see if there was some interim improvements. It's not a full redo like we did on our half, which we know is in the city, but we've done some improvements out there. So we'll keep that under consideration, and hopefully our due diligence will clarify this with the county on whose responsibility it is.
Did you catch all that, ma'am?
No, I caught none of it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I am hard of hearing, and I just didn't catch that.
Okay, so it sounds like our belief of where the county line starts and where the city starts or ends, there might be some discrepancy in that, and they're working on trying to figure that out, whether beyond that spot is county or city, and that'll get resolved, but we got to figure out which belongs to who. And based on records that we have that are more accurate than the ones that are just printed online, show that it ends where we ended currently. But they're going to verify that and figure it out.
Let me explain a little further. My husband worked for the county road department.
Okay.
And every time they would fix that Oris Timber Road, they would stop where where that baseball field ended. And Vargas property is right next to it. And now what it is that the land south of the road is county, but the road in itself is the city's till that point. And I did call the Morgan Yard Road Department, and I asked them, because I was afraid that maybe something had changed in between. And I called them, and they put me in with the surveyors. And I held on while he looked it up, and he said, ma'am, It is the city's road all the way up to the end of that baseball field where the sign has the difference of the speed limit or stop, whatever is out there. And Vargas land is on the other side.
Right.
But
So-
the road up to those two ball fields is the city's.
Well, it sounds like there might be two different maps out there, and they're trying to figure out which is which, and we'll get it corrected one way or the other. Okay?
I will accept that, but I think I know what's right. Because, I mean, this goes way back when my husband worked for the county, and I knew they always would stop at that spot.
Right.
And the surveyor looked it up while I was on the phone with him.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming forward.
Thank you.
And with that, would anyone else like to speak to the council? Okay, if not, we're going to move on to 8, which is a consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinance and resolution except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of the July 24th, 2018 meeting. D, adopt resolution number 2018, next number, of resolution authorizing the city manager or fire chief to exit an agreement with the Department of Forestry and the Fire Protection Volunteers Fire Assistance FVA Granting Fund. E, approval of letter opposing proposed cannabis regulations.
I move that we approve the consent calendar as read.
And I'll second that.
A motion been made and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0 with 1 absent. Thank you. 9 is a public hearing. A, adopt resolution number 2018, next number, a resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one. I forgot our city planners along with us, and I have to take on those ones. So we have some, do we have pictures today, Mike? Yep. So we do have some pictures available here. So this is along the railroad corridor, but we did get confirmation from the railroad company that they're going to have a company come out and clean this up. It's a big kudos to our community service officer. Railroad doesn't really respond to anything. To get someone to actually say they're going to get it cleaned up and send us a copy of the quote that they got is pretty well known. But with that being said, we want to go through with the process tonight, just in case they don't follow through and clean up the railroad track. So tonight we're asking you to go ahead and hold a public hearing. Subsequent to that hearing, if you don't have anybody really objecting to it, we ask that you declare this a public nuisance tonight so that we can move forward. That way the process is complete. If the railroad company doesn't fall through like they've told us they have, then we can abate the process and collect the money afterwards through a lien process.
I have a question on that. Do we have a situation in reference to that area that homeless people are?
We do. We're finding that some of our homeless are moving into that area and setting up encampments. Some of them are behind Dollar General. There's a few other places on there that are growing in size.
Right. So is the cleanup in reference to trying to get rid of the homeless people in that area?
Well, the cleanup, if you can see, that's not homeless. I mean, there's a homeless encampment there, but I mean, there's other things out there. We're just trying to get the whole thing done, council member. This is not anything targeting any one specific person or persons that are out there, but as you can see there, the railroad company has just allowed this to fall through. Their stuff is just starting to accumulate there, and there's some railroad ties in there as well. I don't know if she had that one in there. But there's also some old railroad ties when they came and replaced all those that are out there too. So this is through the heart of our community. So we're just trying to get this cleaned up so when you come through our community, it looks nice.
And don't misunderstand me on that bit, because I think that's well needed in terms of cleaning up that space, because that could be a hazard, fire hazard or anything of that nature. But I was just thinking that if we do have that, are we set up to deal with the homeless people? If so, we need to have someone maybe down there to maybe speak them out of that area.
Yeah, they'll direct them to services. There's services at Host House in Patterson's available, and then there's also services in Turlock and Modesto as well that are available to them.
Is the graffiti included in that cleanup?
I doubt that the graffiti is because it's probably on that building there. Something we'll have to look at.
Oh, okay.
Since that's attached to the building, it's probably not on the railroad property. We'll have to work with that. That looks like Damari there. We'll have to work with them.
Michael, question on this. It looks like it's an accumulation for quite a while. And are you saying that the railroad company is responsible for this property?
Yes, this is their property.
And so do they periodically review what's out there and clean it up, or is it just something we have to tell them that it's time?
It's very difficult to get a hold of anybody at the railroad. As you know, Richard Dyke from Moonshine Dairy tried for a lot of years getting on the north entrance to the town. He finally just cleaned it up himself. He couldn't get anyone to come out here. Our community service officer happened to locate somebody, saw somebody when she was taking these pictures. Somebody came down with the truck on the rails, so she stopped them, got their information, and then was able to find who we needed to contact to make this get done.
Thank you. Okay, since this is a public hearing, I'm going to open it up to public for any comment. Would anyone like to comment on this public nuisance? If not, then I bring it back to the council for direction.
I move that we adopt resolution 2018 next to number, a resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4 pending failure to complete what they've already promised to do.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried 4-0 with one absent. Thank you. 10 is regular business. A, report of trunk or treat Halloween event that's supposed to be trick or treat.
Trunk or treat.
Trunk or treat?
Yeah. Trunk or
What the
treat.
heck's that time of year already? Trunk. I mean, if I'm drunk or
Car trunk.
trunk.
No, car trunk.
Trunk, Jeez. Okay, elephant trunk. Anyway, the Halloween event at the downtown plaza, so.
Good evening, Mayor, council members.
You always have these great projects.
Trunk or treat, that's what it is. The Newman Crows Land Unified School District after-school program has requested exclusive use of the downtown plaza and the 1300 block of Main Street on October 31st from 4 to 7 p.m. to host a Halloween trick-or-treat event, Trunk or Treat. They're going to have vehicles parked in the 1300 block and also that west parking lot of the plaza, and then individuals will pass out candy to children that come to this event. They will have a DJ there playing music during the event, and of course this will be a no alcohol event. And they have received over 75% of the business signatures from those businesses affected, because this will be an inaugural first time event for them. The event organizers have made the following requests. They would like exclusive use of the plaza and the 1300 block of Main Street. They would like to waive the standards for downtown events in the area of the cleanup deposit. The insurance reduced to $1 million, also naming the city as an additional insured. Traffic and crowd control device costs that are listed in the standards, and also the restroom and electrical use fees. They would like those waived. And I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have about this event.
Any question? There being no questions, bring it back to council for direction.
I move that we approve the report on Trunk or Treat Halloween event at the downtown plaza with the requests that were asked upon.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0 with one absent.
Thank you.
B is approval of 3 agreements to implement Sustainable Groundwater Management Act.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one. So it was last year, or actually in 2014, where this all started, when the state passed the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. And that was during the drought season. So the whole idea was to get a better coordinated effort on how we're drawing our groundwater, and not just arbitrarily stick a bunch of straws in the ground and just suck up a whole bunch of water without any real coordination, if you will. So with that, in 2016, we registered, we being the city of Newman, registered as our own independent groundwater sustainability agency, saying that we're going to put together a groundwater sustainability plan. Now, we are located in what's called the Delta Mendota subbasin, of which there's multiple other sustainable agencies in there. So we started working and having some conversations about maybe we need to all come together and do some coordination of effort and putting these plans together. So tonight what you have before you are a series of 3 agreements that would implement that process. The first agreement is just a coordination agreement, and that really just sets up how we're going to work together, what's the procedure for exchanging information between the parties, how are we going to resolve any problems that may arise. Again, the goal here is just for us to utilize the same data and methodologies. So it's apples and apples. You know, not apples and oranges when you're comparing things and really talking about things. So it really gets to the intent of the initial act, right? Groundwater sustainability management. So, you know, if we're all talking the same language, using the same data, using the same methodology about how we're measuring things, we'll have a better idea of what we're actually doing to the groundwater basin itself. There's a second agreement. The second agreement is in part and parcel with the coordination agreement. It's really talking about how we're going to share the cost that arise out of coordinating this effort. People going to meetings and engineers and all that stuff on there. So we're going to be a part of a group called the San Joaquin Valley Water Exchange Contractors, San Joaquin River Exchange Contractors, of which there's 10 entities, and those are spelled out in the agreement. That group is responsible for 16.7% of the coordination agreement. So if you think about that, 16.7% divided by 10, you know, we're at 1.67% of the total cost is what that's going to come out to for us. And then we also get representation on the committee through our group, which is the exchange contractors, and then they'll go up and be a part of the coordination committee. So that means we don't have to attend all the meetings personally. We'll have local groups, the exchange contractors will have meetings, and then representatives of that group will then go to a bigger group and do some of that discussion on that. And then the last final agreement that implements that is something for us now. We're talking about the big group and we're dialing down even further, right? So now we're talking about the exchange contractors and the 9 other entities that we're joining. And that's what the MOU is. The MOU now kind of spells out, we're going to work with these 9 partners as part of the exchange contractors, and those are all the people in this general area, and I think that kind of goes a little bit south of here, Fireball, Mendota, and some of those guys, Augustine. And we're going to work together to do a GSP. CCID is going to kind of lead that for us. And again, that just kind of talks about how we're going to manage putting these GSPs together, how we're going to manage the cost and some of those things on there together. So instead of going it alone and doing our own GSP, which is the Groundwater Sustainability Plan, we're going to work with other entities and try to do a whole coordinated effort for what's called the Delta Mendota Subbasin Agreement. So I know there's a lot there, but if you really just think about it, we're really talking almost a valley-wide kind of issue, right? And then we'll take our portion of it, which is kind of Fireball, Los Banos, up to us. That's kind of our portion of the whole sub-basin, and then we're going to work together as our group, and then our group will work together with the larger group. So with that, we're just asking that you authorize me to go ahead and execute those 3 agreements, and so we can get that process going. I can answer any questions that you may have at this time.
I have a quick question. What impact does that have on, we talked about a year or so ago about new wells.
New what? I'm sorry.
New water wells?
Yes.
What impact will that have on these wells that we've talked about in the past? that we're supposed to be looking into?
Yeah, so we're still moving forward with our new well site on Jensen Road. We're expecting we're probably going to be out to bid here in the next 60 to 90 days to put the straw on the ground. Not the surface improvements yet, but sticking the well in the ground. What this is really just doing, council member, is just more about sharing the information that we get, how much water we actually pulling out of the ground, what are we doing with that water, and those types of things. When are we using it, and is there any groundwater recharges going on? A lot of that data. We share a lot of that data already with CCID, so we're really not going to be doing anything different. It's just now that we're sharing that data, we're just going to start taking that data together and just use it to formulate a plan. So it will not have an impact on that new well that we're going to be building.
Any other questions? Thank you, Michael. With that, I'll bring it back to council for direction.
I move that we approve the 3 agreements to implement Sustainable Groundwater Management Act and authorize the city manager to execute those agreements.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0 with 1 absent. Thank you. Item 11, District 5, Stanislaus County Supervisor, Mr. Jim D. Martini. Welcome, Jim.
Good evening, Mayor Martina, members of the council. Have a few things tonight. The West Side Healthcare Task Force has started its art and essay contest. Last night I was at the Newman School Board and made a presentation to them. They were, of course, on board with it. Our theme this year is Get Healthy One Step at a Time. And so I have presentations to make before Patterson and Gustine School Boards, which are on my calendar. This is our 10th year doing that, so it's and we had, I don't know, 300-400 entries last year, so it was pretty well attended. We have categories from kindergarten to 7th and 8th, 4 categories altogether. So we're on our way on that, and so I'll let you know at the update next time. November 2nd is the cutoff date for that, and then the presentations will be made to the school boards in December, who the winners are, and the awards. We give little gift certificates of $50 and a grand prize of $100. Plus there's an essay contest too. So anyway, that's underway. The Healthcare Task Force Biggest Loser contest will be coming up pretty soon. It is August 23rd, and this year the way out will be at City Hall in Gustine. In the past, we've had it at Miller Park. Gustine wants to move it in front of City Hall. So that's just, see, today is what, the 14th? That's 10 days. So I hope your team is dieting and ready to compete. We've sent out emails, and it seems like everybody is aware of it. Just that the location's just moved a few blocks. But August 23rd at Gustine City Hall. And then the task force has done programs for adults and for children and families. We're doing the first one for seniors. This is a draft of the flyer. This is not so much diet and exercise, but this is more senior, abuse and what to do if you have a problem with somebody. Maybe a contractor who doesn't perform the job, or anything that's abusive, or financial crimes. We are working in conjunction with the Catholic Charities on this and the City of Patterson. So it will be September 22nd. We will begin the program at 11 o'clock and then go for about an hour, and then we'll have a lunch. Lunch is no charge. We do ask that you RSVP though. So we're not going to check IDs, but it's a senior program, so I'm 39 and I'm going to go. So anyway, 11 o'clock, lunch at 12. So this is our first senior program. So we've tried to work for the benefit of all the community. So we're from kindergarten to our art and essay contests, all the way to senior citizens, and we've tried to do something for every group. So anyway, if you're interested, September 27th, Hammond Senior Center in Patterson. And then the next task force meeting will be here in Newman on September 20th at 6 o'clock. I haven't heard that there's a problem, so I'm just assuming nothing's changed. So we'll be here. That'll be just 1 week before the senior program. And then the only other thing is the Crow's Landing Air Base. We're still answering the questions from Patterson. That I think sometime in September, I think we'll have all that done, because they had all kinds of comments, So yeah, I'm not going to go into that, but it's but we're obligated to answer them, and we will.
No lawsuits,
I hope not. This project has been dragging on for 10, 12 years now. I mean, there's nothing about the project that should be objectionable. I think they asked for additional traffic studies and using their sewer plant, which we're prepared to pay for, or we'll put in our own if we just can't work out a deal. But the project is the footprint of the base, which is, contention the last time. There's no trains this time. There's no residential development. It's industrial only. And it's to bring jobs into the area. It's what it is, an industrial area, kind of similar to what Keystone has in Patterson. But anyway, there's no trains, and it's not a 4,000 acre project or anything, and it's industrial only. So I think everybody should be okay with it. I mean, we'll try and mitigate traffic impacts, of course, but the county, we had a meeting today, and we will put in immediately once we get started there $20 million out of the county's reserves. Our reserves now have grown to $203 million, and we have no debt. So we're going to use 20 million of that. That probably won't be enough, but we'll start out 20 million, get the project off the ground.
Maybe we all still be living by the
Could you say that again?
I said maybe we'll all still be living by the time the project starts.
Well, I hope so. I hope to linger on for a little while, though. I am surprised, how long things take to get done, but this is California, and you just can't get things done easily. But we will. We're still moving ahead, slow but constantly forward. Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
And with that, oh, I'm sorry. You're not up?
Fine. You want to let the boss go first?
I thought he already went. I'm sorry, Mr. Michael Holland.
Mayor, we serve at your pleasure. Whoever you like to, whoever you want to go first or exclude, I'm happy to oblige.
Well, thank you, Michael. Please.
You're slipping, man.
So we have just couple quick reports to the council. As you can see, we're kind of finishing up the latter portion of our Measure L project. Again, we spent close to just over $1.8 million, probably closer to 1.9 when we start getting into some change orders that we had to do due to some stuff that's underground that you don't necessarily see. And I know there's some of the residents on Forest Imba are concerned about some of the roads out there, but just to kind of prove our point, when you're going down Hills Ferry and you're going into Turlock or Modesto, right? You can see where our improvements stop at Sherman Parkway, right next to Swamp Rats Road. Mm-hmm. And then there's about 400 feet that didn't get improved, and then you get to another piece that was done by the county several years ago that was improved. Well, the county stopped there because that's where they thought the city limit line was. After we talked to them about it and did our project, and we went up to what we know to be the city limit line and had a conversation with the road guy. When their crews come in here in the next couple weeks, and I think you've seen some signs on River Road about them doing some road, they'll fix that 400 feet that they left off last time. So just because the county says it's not their road doesn't mean they're always right. So that's just another example of one of those times where we just had to get the information, and sometimes it's just a dialogue.
And I hit up Catherine about that, and she was real quick to respond and
Yeah.
let me know, because that was one of my concerns. Was I saw that and I thought, well, that's kind of just a little bit odd. Whose side is this?
Correct. And I had the same. We had probably just talked about that the week before, because in my mind I'm kicking my engineers like, what's the matter with you people? Why aren't you going all the way to the end? And, well, we are going to the end. So that's why we had to do a little bit of due diligence and work to figure out, okay, where should our project limits end and the county starts, and then that's where that gap was. And so anyways, the county will come in and fix that piece later when they're in the area here shortly. So we want to thank the county for stepping up and doing that improvement, because it would have looked weird if, you know, there's 400 feet and there's alligatoring and some channeling going on there. It just didn't look right. So with that, we just had our last movie night, Cars 3. It's a good crowd, probably 150, 175 people out there. I think good low crowd. We're in the middle of getting ready for soccer. I think there's a coaches meeting tomorrow and another one on Friday. So parents should, if your child or grandchild plays soccer, probably begin to call from their coaches here in the next couple of days. And then we start up the Saturday after Labor Day weekend. We'll start up with games, and that'll go for 8 weeks. And then just lastly, still advertising for the city planner position. Got about 2 weeks left on that advertisement. So with that, I can answer any questions that you may have.
Only one I had was McBride Building. I know we approved a budget for that, so it's just a matter of timing. Right?
Yeah, so we've given the architects our last comments.
Okay.
So now what they're doing is probably going to develop a proposal for us to what it would cost to draft up formal plans so we could bid it. And they're also putting together a cost estimate for us based upon our comments. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks to 4 weeks, we should get that back from them and then have some information for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
That's it, Mayor. Thank you for the opportunity.
Lieutenant Short.
And I have nothing for you tonight.
Oh, after all that? After all that. Okay, Lou, save us.
That was a great lead up. We have our auditors coming in on Monday, Tuesday to do their on-site portion of their audit work. This is not the complete audit. They just do their on-site pop quiz. They go through and have us pull documents and show them that we actually did have invoices to pay checks for, and we did have proof of receiving money from our various outside agencies. And then their audit will continue all the way through the presentation of the financial statements, which we're targeting the first council meeting in December. Other than that, happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Chico, you have been busy.
A little.
I mean, it's like, it's unbelievable what's been going on in the state, and I'm sure that you have a lot of good information to give.
Yeah, I've sent a lot of it to your guys' email boxes. I don't know if you noticed some of that smoke's drifted out, so we've gotten some relief. Locally, though, you guys might see our city apparatus out and about driving around. We're working on new driver operators, so we're getting a lot of our new firefighters certified to drive the apparatus. So other than that, I don't really have too much to report.
Thank you for all your good report.
No problem.
Thanks so much for, like keeping us abreast in terms of fires and stuff. I think that's great.
Perfect.
The way we can, comment on it and leave it at point of let people know how we are participating in fighting fires. So I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Casey?
I don't have a whole lot.
You're happy?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Okay. Roy?
Nothing.
Well, I've got something.
Okay. Like school, show and tell.
Yeah, like school, show and tell. In the consent calendar, there was approval of a letter opposing proposed cannabis regulations. Just to let you know, Prop 65, which was the cannabis regulation, and then our city regulations regarding cannabis control in our city is under threat. There's proposed legislation coming about to change Prop 65 in ways that would reduce our ability to control cannabis activity in our community. And so the council has taken action to oppose that. Just want the community to be aware. And that's all.
Just to follow up a little bit on that, the League of Cities, I don't know if you're familiar with that, they're actually opposed to it also. So they're fighting to make sure that that doesn't occur, because it's a complete turnaround as far as what we agreed to, and they've changed a lot of things. So it's what happens in politics. That unfortunately, we have to live with that. But we're going to fight it to the bitter end, because our whole process is we want to keep cannabis out of the community. You know, we certainly believe in medical cannabis, but we don't think it's a good idea for small towns. We can't afford the problems that come with that cannabis. You know, so that's just the position of the council and the city. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It makes a difference when there's people out there, and we appreciate you. And thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to ask for adjournment.
So moved.
Okay, motion made, second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you so much.